Mermaid, and I'm visiting at the Maritime Museum of the Atlantic in Halifax, Nova Scotia. The museum is an amazing nautical museum that shows all of our history in Nova Scotia and everything to do with the ocean. Let's take a look. This is one of the really cool star attractions at the museum. You see it a lot on the internet. This is actually a boat from inside of a lighthouse. This would be what would be shining through. So this is one that's burnt out and been taken out, but it's really cool and you can see it looks really neat. This is Merlin, and he's the mascot of the museum. He's been here for at least 10 years, and when I first met Merlin, he used to say to me, "Hey buddy," he really likes to chat, and they'll move him around sometimes, and he loves to eat nuts, and he'll just chat with people as they walk by, and if you walk by, oh there, he says hello. Hello.
Hello.
Hello, Merlin. He likes to pop up and show up his wings and all of his feathers.
Hello.
He's beautiful. Who's a pretty bird?
So handsome.
Peekaboo, Merlin. Peekaboo. Are you showing off your feathers? Are you showing off? Hey, buddy. So the museum has all kinds of artifacts from all over Nova Scotia and different parts of Canada, and a lot of things are left over. Shipwrecks are just things that have been collected. One of the neat things that you can see, it's very popular, are the figureheads, which I've got one behind me here. I'm a little biased about how neat they are, though, because they're often mermaids. This one's not, but many of them are. Almost 100 years ago, Halifax endured a huge explosion when two ships accidentally collided and one of them had been carrying explosives. And it totally ravaged the city. It completely destroyed it, and it was shortly followed by a huge blizzard. It was devastating, and many people lost their lives. Part of what this museum does is keep that legacy around so that people know what happened and remember the people that passed away and all the damage. But it's also a really good reminder of hope and how amazing it can be when people come together. We had people from Boston send us things to help us out, and to this day we still send them a Christmas tree, which is really neat. And the museum has these leftover artifacts from the explosion, and some of these things are pieces of the ship and anchors that were actually found miles and miles away from the harbor because the explosion was so strong that it actually threw them through the air and landed so far away. It's really neat. I hope you can get down and check it out and see some of the amazing things. There's also a book that keeps record of all the people that passed away, and every day they turn it to a new page so you can remember those people. I'm here with my friend Ian at the Maritime Museum of the Atlantic, and he's going to talk to us a little bit about shipwrecks and the archaeological digging that goes on with them.
Yeah, so what we're explaining for March break to the kids is when you have a shipwreck, it doesn't look always complete. If a long time has happened since the shipwreck, sometimes the waters have churned it up and it no longer even looks like a ship at the bottom of the ocean. So what you end up with is all of these pieces at the bottom of the ocean that they're digging through and they're finding, and they're trying to learn a little bit about the shipwreck. So what kids can do here is they can come and find an artifact, a favorite artifact, and learn a little bit more about it. We have all these cards here so that they can do some research on it. So if, for example, we have this shoe buckle right here, just right there, yeah. That shoe buckle right there. Now that style came into popularity in the 17th century. So if the shoe buckle's from the 17th century, but we don't know when the shipwreck is from, what do you think we could learn from that? When do you think the shipwreck would have been?
Oh, that makes me think that it might have happened around the 17th century.
Exactly. So you can learn a lot that way. And kids have been really enjoying trying to figure out some of the things don't look exactly like the photo. Some of the things have broken, which is very common at the bottom of the ocean. And so they can learn a little bit about what underwater archaeologists do.
It's like being an underwater detective.
Exactly.
Thank you, Ian, so much.
No problem.
Yeah, so I'm here at the Titanic part of the museum. It's really interesting. I don't know if everybody realizes, but the Titanic actually sank just off the coast of Nova Scotia. We have a lot of pieces of the wreckage image here, and we actually have a lot of victims who were buried here in the graveyards as well. There's been some really interesting stuff I want to show you. This is part of an archway, and it's a piece of a door and an archway, and it's really famous because they lent it to James Cameron, the man who made the Titanic movie, and in the famous scene where Jack and Rose are floating on the door, this is actually what it's modeled after. And over here you can see the famous staircase and banister. We've got some pieces here of the banister as well that were recovered. So we have the real one that was recovered, and then we have one that's made out of resin so that you can actually touch it and see it. They have so many neat artifacts from the Titanic here. And again, it's one of those things where it's kind of sad because it was this shipwreck and these sad things happen. But then we can also look at it and look at the good that people did to try and help other people out and try to help the families reunite and the ships that came in to try and save people. So even though it was this really bad thing that happened, people came together to do something good. And now we've got all these pieces of our history left over. It's been over 100 years since the Titanic sank. It's been so long. So this is a recovered deck chair from the Titanic when it sank. It's really neat. They've got it here behind glass. I don't think they're going to let me sit on it, but they made their own recreation of it, and they've recreated the deck of the Titanic so that you can go out and see what it was like to be a first, second class, or third class passenger, and you can also sit in their recreation of it. You can see the tickets and items from the rooms and the way everything was mapped out. It's really interesting and interactive. This is my friend the Kraken. He's a really interesting myth about giant octopus and giant squid who would sometimes sink boats. And the thing is that there actually are such things as giant squid. In fact, sperm whales love to eat them, but we rarely see them living. There's only been a few videos of living giant squid in the world. I'm not sure if they were ever so big that they took down boats, but it really makes for an interesting story, just like mermaids.